So in any given legislative session, there are literally thousands of bills that are filed competing for legislators' attention. And we know that we're all human, and there's only so much bandwidth that individual legislators have, that the institutions that they're part of have, and that state government has. And so one of the important things about MSPCA is continuing to bring focus on issues relating to animal welfare, so that as we look at all of the issues that are before the legislature, animal welfare issues never lose their place.
While abandoning an animal is a felony in Massachusetts, we were hearing from people who had found animals who had been abandoned in an apartment or a condo or other housing situation. And those animals, in many cases, died and slowly dehydrated and starved to death. In other cases, were barely alive before somebody found them. So the new law would require that property owners, such as landlords, check vacated properties within 3 days to make sure that animals have not been left in those places.
Now, on a checklist of how we properly care for property, we make sure that we properly care for animals. So we make sure the water's shut off, the electricity may be shut off, and we make sure that there's not an animal in need of care in that property.
The Advocacy Department works on many types of issues. We work on bills that protect companion animals, those animals that we live with in our homes. We work on bills to protect wildlife, the animals outdoors that we may or may not ever see. We have worked, for example, to include a bittering agent in antifreeze to make sure that companion animals, wildlife, and even children don't drink that substance. We've worked to prevent drowning and inhumane death for animals. We've worked to make sure that dogs are not constantly tethered. We've also worked to make sure that people can report animal abuse, and professionals who see animal abuse can report that. We also have worked to defend animals and make sure that we don't find the laws moving backwards. And one of those examples is trapping. We want to make sure that those trapping laws stay strong. All of these issues are so important, and there's so many more that we work on day in and day out to make sure that animals are protected.
MSPCA has a singular focus, and it's to make sure that on Beacon Hill we have a statutory and a regulatory environment that protects animals in the best possible way. And that is something that should never be lost sight of. That is that focus and that persistence and that drive to get us through the hurdles that legislation has to pass, not once in a while, but every day and every year.
They don't have a voice, so we have to be theirs.